try something. Don't just go all the way down to the hash marks and quit. And you're not going to score from out there. If you do, it's because the goalie is out to lunch. And but how much time do you guys spend working on shooting?
Well, we have once every 2 weeks they go to a shooting place and shoot. Like
Yeah,
they take a lot of shots in my practices, and
yeah,
we we'll do one timers. They get there and pass the partner four. They take turns doing 4 shots.
yeah.
Like I would pass to you and then skate backwards. You pass to me, and I take a one timer
Right. We do those too.
and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
I'd
good
just
stuff.
like to answer that question for you. GHC, they have 1 day a week of shooting
Hmm.
scheduled with a professional shooting instructor. They put their skates on and they're on plastic ice, a number of sheets in small area with nets, and they are working on all kinds of shots. And it's really paid off. Like now, our U13 level, they can shooting from the point is now a threat. It's not like a long set shot, a lob to the net. They can place that puck. They can put some mustard on it. And one thing I want to mention, Tom, all these girls coming up now, and hell, they're not looking at the puck as much. Their first thing they're doing is looking around,
Yeah.
and I am blown away by their ability to get their heads up and see the ice and move the puck. So I'm really optimistic about the next number of years and
On the
watching
girls.
kids
Yeah.
progress to the next level. And
Yeah.
Tom, you're the benefactor of some of those players graduating to you. And I watch your game on the weekend, and boy, they played some possession hockey. I mean, in boys hockey, it's sort of dump and chase and pressure on forecheck. And some teams, that's their offense, dump and forecheck.
Yeah.
And there's times that's got to be part of it. But being able to control that puck and possess it and share it, uh, it creates so much more in the long run.
And you read there's a time and a place, right? I mean, if you can't go back and they've got a good gap on you, then you put the puck in behind them. Sometimes you got a good gap and you turn back, give it to the D and regroup and attack again. It's all read what they give it, take what they give you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, do
Like we
you?
were working on that cutting in, and I told the girls, I said, if you've got your shoulder in front, take that lane, cut right in front of them, and you're between them and the net now. They've lost T side. So it's reading, it's all reading what they give you, and then having the skill to do it too, right?
I got to make
You?
a point here, Hal.
Yeah.
You've worked on breakouts, but I had a coach, U13, Lee Isaac. Unbelievable what he did. He worked with the D only at one end. He dumped a puck in, and the partner was out there with him, and the other two D were sort of being simulating wingers on the board, supporting the puck. But he went at the puck carrier, forcing him to use the D to D because he definitely took away the near side. And he did it both ways. Everybody took a turn at shoulder checking, retrieving, and reading his pressure. So I've seen coaches dump the puck in and forecheck and not teach them how to angle and therefore teach the forward or the defender where the open ice is, where the space is, how to use the open teammate. And that's a critical phase. So he pressured from the outside in on the D. They went D to D. It was his first drill. I thought that's brilliant because at that level, Tom, you've coached it, they don't go D to D at all. And really, your D partner's often the most open player.
I don't know if they don't do D to D at all.
Well, at U13 that I'm watching and watching them go to the provincials, I mean, I've watched it for 2 years and they just don't use the width of the rink and their partner back there to open up the ice. Not enough anyway. It's at your level, they do it, they use each other, but I mean, watching games, I'm watching the puck jammed up the boards. You can see literally 8 of the players battling on the boards versus move it to open ice, create some space. You've got room to get open and use it. So D to D to me, hell is a statistic. That's a statistic I would keep. And I would cheer every time there's a D to D pass at the bench. Reward it, just praise it. And praise it when they come back to the bench because they're quarterbacks back there. And
So
they have to change the mindset of how they play from being a fullback or a running back to being a quarterback. And you got 2 quarterbacks on the ice at once that work together. Breakout's not going to be a problem.
we'll do a breakout drill, and they've got, depends what level I'm coaching. They have 5 seconds to get to the blue line with the puck, and or somebody has to get there with it. And so it puts a sense of urgency into them because they tend to get back and retrieve the puck and kind of lollygag, want to get them going. And then the one option that they don't often see or want to do is literally just skating the puck. Grab the puck and if there's space, because where's the forecheck going? The forecheck's going to the wing quite often. And if there's space, through the middle, at least take a couple strides there and the whole dynamics change. Because you start attracting opponents. But when that happens, then you have teammates that are now open. So,
A lot of times I'll have them, I don't allow them to pass the puck till they get to the hash. So they're not just going around and, the lesson is once you do what you just said, they skate with it, the D can't hold the blue line anymore, right?
right.
The D has to back up. If you just get the
Yep.
puck and rim it, they're in there, they're gonna pinch and all this. But if you
Yep.
can get that puck and you're skating up ice, they have to bail, and now all of a sudden it changes everything.
Got all sorts of options. The other the other thing we do what I call a breakout pass drill with lines on both sides at hash mark and above. And the first player takes the puck and goes down inside around the net, but they pass. They have to pass when they're right behind the net. They can't skate past the net 3 strides and then pass to their teammate on the wall, because getting that pass to the wing in a timely really quick is really important. And then we'll do passes on the rail, not direct passes, and that winger's got to kick it out and do that. And then the skater continues and gets a pass back from their teammate on the wall, and goes up ice and passes to a coach. Meantime, the one on the other wall is now taken off and coming around the other side. So we get a coach to stand down at the net, sort of with their stick, or encouraging them to pass now, pass now. Don't get clear of the net before you pass, because you've lost 1.5 or 2 seconds, and now your teammate's going to be covered. So I just call it. There's a couple different variations you can do with it, but it's a breakout pass drill that encourages them to get their head up. And then if you really want to get creative about it, you can send a coach to take that outside pass away so they don't get into a remote habit. Because I think there's too much of that goes on in the game too. Just go the same place all the time.
Hell,
So,
that's what I'm saying is that defender, he'll carry the puck too far.
yeah,
It's a short pass. It's not going to gain an advantage.
right.
They're checked into traffic.
Yeah,
So passing early is important.
yeah,
I'm adding an element to that. That defender who's skating with the puck, if the winger's covered, he carries it wider. He's got an angle now up the middle,
yeah,
so he can hit the center. And Tom did some deliberate progressions with me. We want that winger to go to the goal line at practice, not at the hash, not standing still, but receive it moving
I like that.
before the hash mark. And in games, it's a habit. You want them to support lower, closer. And the rule for the winger is low, quick, good target facing the puck. The center mirrors late, slow and low.
Yeah,
He stays behind the D. So he's available for that second pass. And that way you create two options and you're not telegraphing things. An advanced stage is coming around the net, looking at the winger, but passing to the center. Pass deception. And a friend of mine who played in the NHL, Brad Barenka, he ran a hockey school, 5-on-0 breakouts. And every breakout pass had to be a look away. So he didn't work on telegraphing. He worked on looking one way, passing another. Now, that's pretty advanced, but he did it at a hockey school with U15 kids. It was an idea that I've never yet seen done, but I thought, boy, especially at the highest level, when you watch the NHL, there's very few telegraph passes. There's that little look one way, pass the other, a little fake, little deception before they'll pass.
I like that. I'm going to use it this year.
Well,
That's
I've
great.
talked about Craig Levy, he played for the North Stars for a while. And he plays Tuesday nights with us. And if you just go and you pass, it's like you're passing to him. He reads your eyes and your body language. If you don't make a fake pass, you're passing to Levy on the other side. Because he just reads it so well and he's such a great skater. So it's a really important skill.
Was that is that 5-on-0 a full ice, or could you do that? You could do that on half ice too.
Well, I like that idea. You know, I like the idea of more space, reduce numbers, and that way you have time to look one way. If you tried to do it 5-on-5, you wouldn't have that much success. But
Right.
you forecheck two, that's enough. I think they could figure it out and be deceptive.
I like that.
Now, hell, the one thing that I always teach the first breakout is an evasive tight turn by the D. They look like they're going behind the net. They've got somebody on them. They fake inside and they turn to the wall and get their feet moving. The winger's there, the center's there with timing. And that evasive tight turn creates time and space. Now, the other players have to read you time and support. So I teach the evasive tight turn and breakout. That is your breakout at just about any level. If you can do an evasive tight turn, you're going to have time to move the puck or look one way, pass the other. It's the first tactical skill, offensive tactical skill that really pays off at both ends. Breakout and low zone possession, where you're tight turning, getting away, escaping, up the wall, walking the seam, all those things. So, Tom, we've worked on those tight turns, and I watched you go around the rink and have them tight turn and go the other way. And they're doing more and more of that. They're getting really good at it because of that.
Well, almost every second practice or warm up for 2 or 3 minutes, they skate around the ice, and at every dot they make a move. And then when I blow the whistle once, they have to tight turn towards the boards, take 3 hard strides. I'll do that a few times, and then I'll blow the whistle within, tweet, and they got to tight turn one way, tight turn the other way. Just to, because that's, like you say, it's a really critical skill for breakouts. There's also a critical skill if you're hanging onto the puck and you're trying to, protect the puck in the offensive zone or whatever. So it's a good little warm up. And yesterday with the zigzag, we always do 4 different things. So the first thing yesterday we did, they had the puck on the forehand side, but they couldn't stick handle. So they had to go around without crossing their hands, had to go around and then open their shoulders up and skate around the puck. That's a real Johanny thing. And they do 3 between the ringette line and the blue line one way, and then they do crossover skating like McDavid to the other, and then they go right one way and left the other way. And so we do 4 different kinds of skating every time. So it's a good little drill as well.
Tom, you've got 3 practices a week.
Well, this week, but usually it's 2. Once we get the regular season, it's basically we practice Tuesday and Thursday, and we do the fitness and shooting either Monday or Wednesday. Play on the weekend.
Hal, what's your schedule in a week?
Well, this year it'll be 2 solo practices a week and 2 joint practices a week. So we will be on the ice 4 times a week, and then we play 2 games a week. In high school we don't play on there's no ice on Sunday, no games, nothing on Sundays.
Can you explain solo and what was the other one?
Oh, joint. All right, so we will skate. This is a junior varsity team, and we will skate actually at a different arena 2 days a week, all by ourselves. So I got full ice, and then other 2 days we will skate with the varsity, a little crowded. There'll be 35 players on the ice and 6 coaches, and the varsity coach will run most of that practice, except for the last 30 minutes. I think they're an hour and a half. And then I will have my second, third, and fourth line and my D on half that ice sheet, and he'll have the rest of them on his half of the ice. So we haven't outlined exactly what's going to happen and all this stuff. So I'm just waiting. So I have to have sort of two different kinds of ways to practice. And maybe 2 days a week, it's going to be more, sort of, I don't know what it's going to be. I haven't figured. And as I was saying to my new assistant coach, she just graduated from college, played at where did she play? Gustavus, I think. But she's been a skills coach in the summer to make money, but she's never coached a team. So I'm going to have to help her learn to coach. But I got to see what the skill levels are before and prioritize where we can make the most difference with the kids on a skill basis, and then also on a team play basis. So that'll take a couple weeks to sort of sort that out before I figure out what our 2 days a week are really going to look like. One thing I do know is we will do cross ice hockey for like 20 minutes, and with constraints and rules, and then we'll go into the hard skills and do some skating stuff, passing things, and then we'll do our game skills after that. So I don't know. Looks like it'll be pretty fun, I think.
Now, do you really need a whole ice to practice?
Do we?
What you're practicing.
Pardon?
Well, it depends what you're practicing. I mean, just half ice restricts a lot. I did that U13 3 years ago, and we always had half ice. And you're very restricted because of the half ice. Last night we finished off with a game at each end. It's 3-on-3, and you pass a point to go on offense. And Hal could do that with when he's got half the team there, because it's a really good competitive game. So, but having half ice is a very different practice than full ice. Like last night, I think these players are pretty good. So I got my 3 assistant coaches all to run a drill we've never done before, and they're advanced drills. And the girls were able to do them, but they're full ice drills.
Well, I prefer to have half ice practice. I don't need whole ice, because you can work on one-on-one skills half ice.
No.
You can work on small numbers and teaching the one-on-one. And research is showing, Tom, Dean just provided that article. The game is 40% one-on-one. So your practice
It's also played on full ice. Every zone is a different. Every zone is a different read.
Yeah, well, I know there is. I'm just saying.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that. I mean, the game is played on full ice. You can do a lot of things on part ice, half ice. Like the other day, I divided the ice into 4 parts.
Yeah.
The goalie was inside the top of the circle. Top of the circle to the red line, there was one area. Then to the other top of the circle, and then top of the circle back. And there's 4 different things going on. And that was all cross ice, except for the net with a goalie.
Well, I know you're using all of your staff and you're using your ice really well. I'm just saying the complaint up here is 2 ice times a week isn't enough. So we're losing players to go to a league that provides 4 ice times a week. And that ice is an advantage. Most of the prep school, it's 4 days a week. And Tom, I brought the idea up with you.
Coach college 22 years. We always had 4 times a week.
Well, you're working out 4 times a week. I'm just saying ice time.
No, college was always 4 ice times.
Yeah. Well, we're talking developmentally getting 3 ice times, and I've always said 2 of your teams should practice. They could overlap, and you could have the ice for 30 minutes, whole ice. Then
Wally, you can compensate for that, because all the research has a player actually moves in a full ice practice 7 to 11 minutes. And so they've got themselves 44 minutes of moving in 4 practices if they're great practices. So what you
Yep.
do is you have practices that they're moving 30 out of 60 minutes. And you can do that by planning your practice well,
Yep.
so they're moving just as much. My players move just as much in 2 practices as the Super Duper League does in 4. I'll guarantee you that. Because I've gone with stopwatches and I've timed one player, and it's always around there between 7 and 11 minutes. And the rest of the time they're standing in line or listening to the coach babble on and on and on. So you just have to run better practices.
Tom, you know how to. Hal knows how to. I know how to. We're we're not talking about us running a practice.
But I say that's how you compensate for someone that has more ice
Well, I'm
time. You
not
run better
compensating. I'm
practices.
just saying I'm being more efficient because you use a small area. And Hal, how do you find the half ice helping you? What do you find works for you using half ice?
Well, I got tired of it because that's all I really had when I was coaching Bantams last year for sure. And I asked the team manager to go buy me some whole ice, down the road a ways. And she says, "Well, it's at 3:45 in the afternoon." I went, "Perfect." And it was a little hard sometimes for the kids to get there. So there's some things, in my view, and even though we weren't allowed to ice the puck when we were shorthanded, uh, if kids grow up with that, that you can't ice the puck when you're shorthanded, how are they going to know how to play that when the puck can be iced? Because it's a strategic move. How do you put the pressure on? How do you steer? How do you defend and neutralize? And you can't teach that in a half ice deal. Alternately, if you're in the power play and you got to go back and retrieve, there's 2 or 3 or 4 ways to set up your retrieve and counterattack. You can't teach that in a half ice. And to me, the game is played on whole ice. So that's what I want to practice on. I might not use the whole ice through the whole practice. And like Tom was saying with his guys, I push, 35 to 45 minutes of what I call on task activity in a practice, whether it's half ice or it's full ice. This year, I think I'm going to have an hour and a half, which I think is too long. So I might not be in quite as big a rush at the beginning of practice to get them out there, and we'll allow for a little more time for the kids to work on things kind of on their own a little bit. But um, I think a mix of half and a mix of full ice is ideal. But it's funny you say that, Tom, because I figured out after last year, because our kids were tired after practice, because we just, in their hour, and we just keep moving, 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 moving. And then, if you do the math on it, if my practices are worth 3 practices of what the normal one is, okay, that's great. Well, then I can do that, but then why don't we go out and play another 10 or 15 games this year? And so we were scheduled to play 60 games this year. I think they're still, I'm not coaching that team anymore, but I think they're going to keep that in place. Because normally we were, like 45 or 50. But in terms of getting the right mix between how much practice we're getting and how many games we're getting, I think the kids are getting plenty of ice time that way. So, and they got to play games too. It's important.
I think my team ended up with about 55 of each last year, I think.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's awesome, actually.
We go a long time too. I mean, we went to mid-March last year.
Oh, well, it's because you were winning, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, get eliminated. The last games aren't. One thing I like about this league I'm coaching in, there's 15 teams, they added a team, now there's 15 teams in the province, but everybody's in the playoffs.
Yeah,
And that allows you to coach differently, like, than if you're in a place where you have to make the playoffs.
yeah,
Because now your decisions, your bench management is pretty different. If there's no way in the world you can afford to lose this game. So this allows you to really, I like it because it allows you to develop everybody. And
yeah. In Minnesota, the youth game, everybody's in the playoffs, and the playoffs are double elimination. So if you lose one of your first two games, you can slide in the back door if you can now win three games. And so it is, you're right, it's different. So
our
I think,
minor hockey week tournaments like that, but our
Yeah.
playoffs were 2 or 3 series.
oh,
And then the top 5 teams of the 15 go to the provincials.
oh, cool.
There's 2
like-
divisions. There's a
Yeah.
north and a south. Like we're pretty far, like it's an 8-hour drive to Grand Prairie. So
Well,
what they do is they have one it'll be in Lethbridge again. All 15 teams go and play in Lethbridge and you play 3 games. So what you do is the southern teams play the northern teams to kind of, because we play the other division once each. And that eliminates your need to drive to some of the real far away places in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
But
You guys have winter up there? I didn't know that.